Hi, my name is Yolanda and welcome back to my channel. We are doing the eyeshadow palette tag part 2. Listen, I'm only a little late for this one. I was a whole no one told me I was a whole year late for the first one. Anyway, I like this thought exercise. It was a tag video created by Samantha March and Ali Glines. I'll link their channels down in the description box. Oh, I love thinking about these questions and I love answering questions. So we're just going to get into it. So, all-time favorite. This is hard for me. I love my babies. Ranking them is difficult. Telling things, what's my favorite? Is it Tuesday? Is it raining? Is everybody acting right? I don't know. I don't know what my favorite is. I'm changeable in my mood like this. So, I can change my mind. Mercurial in nature I can be. I'm going to reframe the question. If I had to start my collection all over again, they're all my favorites. All of them. Like, I love them all. But we all have a favorite something. So, if I had to start my collection, if I lost all of my makeup, which could happen because I'm moving, and I'm taking all of my makeup with me in the car. So, if something happened to my makeup in transit, what would I start my collection over again with? Natasha Denona Bronze. We're going to go with Natasha Denona, also known as Denona up in these YouTube streets. The bronze palette. Because of my neutral palettes, I'm the warmest of warm neutrals. Warm brown in tone. My undertone, copper. Orange. I am copper in tone. So, these lovelies, I can use Sundown here, and I hope I have this in the right spot. I play with my eyeshadow and I move them around, but I think Sundown is in the right spot. I can use this as the finishing powder if I needed to. All of the tones in here, from the yellow orange to the red orange to the oranges in here, suit me very, very well. So, all-time favorite, one of my oft-used palettes if I don't know what I'm doing. One and done shadows. There's about 5 of them in here that I can do that with. Most of this palette is a one and done shadow look for me. Yes. So we're gonna put all-time favorite as Natasha Denona, the bronze palette. That was difficult. Okay. New favorite. Pat McGrath. Utopian Dream. Everybody was so mad at this palette. Everybody was so mad. But I didn't buy Divine Rose 1 or Divine Rose 2. If I was going to buy a pinky palette from Pat McGrath, it had to speak to me. It had to scream at me. Utopian Dream does that for me. I can use 3 of these shades as blush and they make lovely blushes. There are 5 one and done shadows in here. They work well. We all know about the quality of Pat McGrath. This has replaced my old-time favorite as one of my new favorites. I've only had it for a few months, but I'm experimenting. I get excited for my Black Coffin experience. Every time I approach these, imagination fires. I want to do something. Keep for the memories. Now, my makeup journey is only 4 or 5 years old. 5 years old? 5 years old. But I've always been fascinated with Urban Decay. I missed Urban Decay's heyday, but I watch a lot, and I mean a ton of declutter and collection videos. I love them, and I'm just living vicariously. So, not my particular memories of Urban Decay, but the community's collective memory of Urban Decay lives in the Born to Run palette. Famous shades: Jet, Drift, Smog, Radio, and Blaze. So this is Urban Decay's greatest hits from way back in the day. Institutional memory, and I love to travel, or at least I used to love to travel. So here we go, Urban Decay's Born to Run. Underrated, aka It's highly rated in the community, but we don't talk about Persona very much. This is the Identity 2 palette. My favorite of the two sisters is the Identity 1 palette. So nice, I bought it twice. Boot. Underrated and underused in my collection is the Identity 2. I love my high shine sparkly colors. This is a neutral. This is a neutral with a few pops of color in it. Half neutral, half colorful. My favorite. So the quality is outstanding. The shadows last all day. I am of the aged YouTuber. Like, I'm 46 years old. Doing my outer corner is an issue because during the day it takes me forever to do anything as far as the camera is concerned. So after a couple hours, a lot of shadow travels from my outer corner to my cheek. This does not do that. So quality shadow. If I need to do a quick colorful eye, but I'm not looking to like beam from the gods, this here is a handy. I like it. It's a grungy palette. The tones in here, even though you see color on, I'm seeing color back at me on the eye, all of them have a grungy quality to it. So not the most exciting palette in the world, but a good worker palette. Palette that is not a favorite but can't get rid of. Urban Decay Naked Honey. I have these tones several times over, and for me, being of a deeper skin tone, we'll talk about my name change later, I would say the first three shadows are completely and totally useless to me, but the rest the rest work. But I like the packages. I like the way that it looks. I like the way it feels. I like going back and reviewing the loveliness that they did on Lizzo's eye. I know what I'm doing with this palette. I know that I'm only going to get 2 looks out of this, but I love the looks that I do. So not my favorite. I have these tones in better formulas, but there's something about her. I keep her. Favorite collab. Lethal is Dead. We have greens, purples, periwinkle moment in here. I love this palette. I use this in conjunction with Butte Bean It's Freaking Bats palette. These are softer in tone, but love the formula. This is my absolute favorite collab with one of my favorite YouTubers. Teresa is Dead. Storytellers here on the YouTubes. Entertained, informative, love the collab and the collaborator. 2021 favorite. Quintessence, Sydney Grace, and beautiful grungy dream again with the greens and the purples. My favorites. I call these palettes all in conjunction my MCU palettes. That's the way that I think of these color stories. They are distinct and different enough for me, but of the three, this one is my favorite of 2021. Didn't expect to love the palette. I did not expect to love as much as I do. Colourpop Bare Necessities. Again, if you cannot stand dirty eyeshadow palettes, look away. She basic, but the tones in here, I don't like big palettes, and I generally do not shop from Colourpop, but I'm in this palette all the time since I got her. Colourpop got me. They sucked me in. Like, I like this palette a lot. We're gonna do things with all of the Colourpop that I got here. Okay, we're gonna have fun with Colourpop this year. We're gonna have fun with Colourpop. I bought it, therefore I'm going to play. So I didn't expect that I was going to like the quality or the colors or anything else in this. I bought it. She was almost half off on Ulta. I was having a moment. And I was surprised at how good these shadows are and how much I actually like playing in this palette. She's neutral, but unexpected. Especially the shimmers. Who knew? Well, a lot of people knew. I just didn't want to believe it based on past experience. But, you know, as I said before, mercurial can change my mind. Palette that sparks joy. Again, Vanessa Myers. Lightworks 3. I have Lightworks 1, which is one of my favorite highlighting palettes. Lightworks 2, highlighting and, surprisingly, bronzer. This sparks all of the joy. Colorful, different formulas, different textures. This invites you to play. Vanessa Myers, as a makeup artist, invites you to play. Follow her on Instagram. She is joyful in what she does, loves doing makeup. You can see that, you can feel that. And this is a great representation of the makeup that she does. Did I need these? Do I have duochrome and multi-chrome madness in my single shadow collection? Yes, I have street dupes for every last one of these tones in here. Boot. Every time I open this up, all I want to do is experiment and play. Sparks joy. The creator sparks joy. I have a fair amount of Vanessa Myers products, and they spark joy. The experience, the packaging, texture, a little bit of hollow, like looking at her, like playing in her. This newest palette in my collection, what I'm wearing on my eyes today, has dethroned Persona Cosmetics Identity palette as my favorite neutral palette. The Sydney Grace Be Mine palette. I have her in the deep version. I love everything about this. My grungy heart is so satisfied. Ye old smoky eye, all day, every day. My 90s expression. I was a teenager in the 90s. This is what I wanted to, if I was into makeup as a teenager, this is what I would wear. This would be an everyday palette for me. And last but not least, first palette used in 2022, New Year's I did a look. And New Year's I did a look. Again, back to one of my all-time favorites, Pat McGrath Subliminal, the first of the Black Lacquer Coffin Club family. Cool tones for a very warm-toned woman. Beautiful. Not my oldest, not my first Pat McGrath, but one that doesn't get enough use in my collection, so I do what I do. All of my eyeshadow palettes live out in the open. We have talked about object permanence here on the channel, so all of my palettes are out, and whenever I notice that something hasn't been used, I break her out and I play with her. So I've had this out and about in my home as I move around and pack things up, and I have been using her. The first palette that I put on my eyes in 2022. That was my eyeshadow palette tag, my takes on eyeshadow palette tag part 2. And what say you, community? Answer some of these questions. I want to know. I'm a nosy person. So if you enjoyed this video or these types of videos, we're going to do a lot of organization and collection / declutters here in the next couple of months. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye.